Hey guys, welcome to the Woven Energy Podcast. We're going to do something a little bit different today. This is going to be a one question and one answer kind of thing. They're going to be short and to the point, and they're meant to supplement the main episode. So think of them as little extra jigsaw pieces to help you make sense a little bit more of the main podcasts. Sometimes the episodes, I know they can cover quite a bit in one sitting, so I thought these would be a nice change for you all. So this week we're going to look at a question asked over on Quora, which I think works nicely with where we are in the podcasts. And I know you've got an opinion on this, Damon. So how about this? The question is, could you explain what intuition is and how it is used from a shamanic point of view?
Definitely. Intuition is another one of these problematic English words. A lot of people, when they start to get a handle on shamanistic technique, they, I think, start to realize that shamanistic technique, as we've said, is about rebalancing the three realms, and making a lot more use of the upper realm and making slightly more use of the middle realm and making far less use of the lower realm, of the roots of the tree, the roots of the world tree, than an average human being does. Now, in some ways, the assumption, because of our social conditioning, is that means that shamans behave in an intuitive way, rather than in a rational, logical way. Now, this, if you define the word intuition like the shaman is putting himself into a state where he's not separate from nature, and nature is coming through him, and the shaman is effectively becomes clear, like water. One shamanist described this as that, like the water in the high tarn up in the mountains. It's not like the water in a low-lying lake where there's lots of stuff has been washed down into it, but it's more like the high tarn in the mountains where the rain has fallen, but there's not a lot of mud or other stuff being mixed with the water. The shaman becomes clear like the high tarn in the mountains. And if you define intuition like that, the shaman allows nature to shine through him, then yes, shamans are intuitive. The problem with the word intuition is there's another way to be intuitive. The other way to be intuitive is to allow the miasma to, or your preconceptions based on your cultural and social conditioning, to make instantaneous judgments for you. That is not the intuition that's in shamanism. That's another type of thing that we could call intuition. But that is, from a shamanistic point of view, that type of intuition is unhelpful. So in a brief answer to the question, I would personally split intuition in two. The type of intuition that's like the clear water and the high tarn in the mountains, that is proper shamanistic intuition. The type of intuition that is, if you like, decisions being made very rapidly based on social conditioning, preconceptions, and the miasma, that is the kind of intuition that we don't want in shamanism.
Yeah, it's back on words again, isn't it?
Afraid so. But I mean, the question is a good one, because shamans do indeed behave in a much more intuitive way than I guess you would say, the average member of the population. But they only behave intuitively in terms of part of what we tend to mean by intuition, not all of it.
Mm. At one point in a previous episode, you talked about a shaman learning, you said a shaman learning intuitively, and then corrected yourself and said synergistically.
Yeah, that's exactly that was exactly what was going through my mind when I made that correction. Synergistically means that I am, as in the shamanistic state, I'm not separate from nature. And therefore, in terms of what I call me, if you remember right back, I think, to the very first podcast, we talked about uha eshu, as it's called in Siberia. The bit of me that isn't really me. I don't want that behaving in an intuitive way. The bit of me that really is me, the bit of me that's a bit of nature, that's the bit I want to behave in an intuitive way. And so what I meant by synergy there is that the synergy is that I've dissolved the boundary, or ideally, I would like to dissolve the boundary between myself and the natural world.
Cool. So would you say if somebody came to an intuitive understanding through their chelicity, then that's intuition from a shamanic point of view. If they came to an intuitive answer to a question through their what we call miasma, or their social conditioning, their social biases, their cultural biases, then that's not a shamanic thing.
Yes, I would say that. I would also go further to say that we've said that chelicity is the foundation. It's the base of the pagoda. That the rest of the pagoda of shamanism relies entirely upon it. So I resisted on that occasion that you pointed out. I resisted using the word intuition because I wouldn't want people to think that other part of intuition, the instantaneous decisions or instantaneous categorizations, judgments made on the basis of deep social conditioning, is anything to do with chelicity. It absolutely is not.
Cool. Anything else you want to add on that before we wrap up?
Well, you said you want to keep these brief. You know me, Joe. I'll go on for hours if you want.
Okay. Right, well, let's leave it there then. Thanks very much, Damon.
Cheers, man.